For hundreds of years, other people have always wanted your kids, and in some cases, they wanted our kids more than we wanted our kids. I mean, if you think about how many times you have little children that could be assets to the family. I wrote about this in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I talk about how your children are an asset. But for whatever reason, we're trained to believe children are just a liability, that children get in the way, that having kids is kind of like, oh man, that's going to mess up my groove. I can't go out to the club no more, right? But the problem, the thing that you got to remember if you are financially conscious is that youth is an asset. Energy, the energy that young people bring, the ideas they bring, the 40 hours of labor every week they might bring, that's an asset to a nation. That's a multi-trillion dollar asset. So countries are concerned about losing their youth because they know that that's going to lead to a loss of money. So I want you to process this as you look at your own children and as they get on your nerves and do stuff that's going to cost you money and all these things. I need you to really understand what kind of an asset they are. Like my father, when I was born, he was 16, my biological father. He didn't have interest in having a baby. That was going to get in the way of his heroin addiction, apparently, or him getting more girlfriends, right? That was not I was not of interest to him as a child. But there was another man that came along and met my mother, thought she was cute, probably checked out her butt or something, and then he saw that she had a son, and he said, okay, well, if I want the woman, I need to accept the child. And he made an investment in me. And so as a result, the second guy who made the investment got the benefit of having someone like me as a productive, healthy asset that's been able to contribute to his wealth for decades. I've been giving my father money for decades. I helped him pay off his house. I bought him a new truck with cash when he wanted a truck. If he needs something lifted in the house, he's tired, he's older. I lifted up for him. And I was with my mother all the way up until she took her last breath, right? So having young people in your life really is an asset if you train them properly. Right? My mother invested in getting my sister through medical school. So up until her last breath, guess which medical doctor was standing right next to her bed, checking on her every 2 or 3 hours to make sure that she was okay. Right? If my mother had not invested in my sister, if she had said, you know what, I don't need no baby. I need to either run to the clinic, and if I can't do that, then I need to just drop the baby off at the orphanage, or I'm just going to ignore this little Negro so I can go to the club, pop my booty, meet another baby daddy, and live my best life. But she wasn't thinking that way. She had a different value system, so she invested in the children, and as a result, we became assets for her. Right. So this microcosmic example of what happened in my own family happens in millions of families when you play the game right. See, if you play the economic game right, you understand where your wealth exists, even if it does not show up in the form of money. Sometimes wealth does not show up as dollar bills in your bank account. Sometimes wealth shows up in a wonderful relationship. Sometimes wealth doesn't show up as dollar signs in your checkbook. Sometimes wealth might show up as that knucklehead little kid that's sitting there that's asking for milk right now, and you don't understand if you don't have any consciousness, and a lot of people don't have financial consciousness. If you don't have consciousness, you don't realize that that little knucklehead asking for milk is going to grow up into a grown man who can protect you, defend you, support you, and help you, especially as you get older and you start to decline. Do you understand? So if you understand wealth, you can see where human beings are an asset. Investment in people is absolutely critical. And so what's happened in our society throughout the world is that the reason they are deeply alarmed about the decline in reproductive rates is because they know that they're losing trillions because they don't have enough people. If you look at most economic models, they will show you that young people are the ones who do the work. They're the ones who carry the load. They're the ones who provide the GDP that is invested into Social Security. So young people in a society take care of older people, and you've lost a lot of your young people. And then on the flip side of that, in addition to that, I want you to think about our community, and I want you to think about how many of our young people that they corrupt and destroy and ruin before the age of 18 by sending them through inferior educational systems where your best and brightest kids are growing up wanting to be rappers and thugs and don't want to be dope dealers and because they're growing up glorifying all the wrong ideas